All right, welcome back everyone to this week's episode of answering some comments and Q&A and everything else. And I'm going to tell you about why I started YouTube. So, what should we get to first? How about we do a quick Q&A and shout out, of course. So this question is from Fritz Hetzenberger. Fritz, how are you doing? You had asked me about splitting my wood and why I split some of it smaller, and if that was just for the bundles or if that's because of customer feedback or what's the story behind it. So here goes. Basically, it's all of the above, and another reason is because then it also dries faster and it's easier to handle. I have had, oh, somebody's driving by. As you can see, we're out here at the Back 40 Firewood fire pit, enjoying the evening. Mrs. Back 40 is over there, but she doesn't want to join us tonight. She's feeling a little under the weather. I think she might have caught the form of the cold I had last week. But anyway, so I have had a lot of customers who buy from the roadside stand say they do like it smaller because it's easier to handle, and just like when you're transporting it for recreational burning, you're not really concerned about the heat value and how long it's going to burn. So that's why I keep things kind of small. I mean, it's usually about a 3-inch cut and split is what I try to do. It does make it easier for bundles as well. Keeps it cleaner. It gives the customer a sense of getting more for their money. So, instead of seeing a bundle at the gas station that's got 5 big pieces in it for $6, here they're getting a bundle that's got like 10, 12, 15 pieces in it. So that is why I split some of the firewood down to the size I do. Also because some of my customers who buy for heating purposes, for like their fireplaces or their indoor stoves, they are elderly, so they do like that smaller size so they can handle it better. So thanks again for the question. All right, so now let me go to, one thing I wanted to mention. I don't know if you noticed in one of the last video with my trailer, you may have noticed that I've got like one ramp and then one board. And the reason for that is because a few weeks after I had bought that trailer last year, I was going down to my parents down to the farm, and there's some rough roads back there, and all it had on the sides were these little pins to hold in the 2 ramps, and the pin must have came off or whatever, but one of those ramps, I got down to the farm and I only had one left, so one of them bounced out, came out of the rails, and I lost it somewhere. I don't know. So that's why I have one ramp and one board. All right, so the one thing I did want to talk about tonight was why I started a YouTube and why I got into this crazy thing I'm doing. So the other day I showed a clip of my dad splitting that firewood by hand, and that's from a tape that he had put together like back in the late 80s. So my parents, we had family and relatives that lived in Alaska, and every summer my parents would take a trip up to Alaska to visit with them and tour around. And it's like from the mid 80s to like into the 90s, like every summer they would go to Alaska. Well, they got to know a lot of people up there, and they made some friends, and like I said, we had family up there. So I don't know, like any of you remember this or how old all of you are, but like back in the 80s, like if we would call to Alaska, like, technology wasn't like it was today or is today. So like if you were talking to somebody on the phone, you'd like have to talk, and then there'd be a delay, and then you'd get the response. And then if you didn't pause and you started talking again, you'd be cut off. And so what my dad started doing was he would put together VHS tapes of like just stuff going on around the farm, you know, if he was out, you know, clipping hay in the hayfield or cutting grass in the pastures or splitting firewood, he'd put all these things together on a tape, and then when they'd go up there, they would give the tape to people, and that would be like during the winter and during the, you know, when it's dark 20 hours a day, people would then be able to sit down and, you know, watch these tapes of what all was going on back in Wisconsin. And then in return, the friends and family in Alaska, they would make VHS tapes and send them back to my dad in the mail, or, you know, whatever. At various times of the year, we'd get a tape, and, you know, so we'd sit down and watch what was going on in Alaska. So a while back, I was taking those tapes and digitizing them from VHS down to a digital format on my computer. So I was going through all these tapes and just watching like all these old clips of things, you know, in the barn at night, feeding the cows, and, you know, throwing hay into the hay barn, and just, so it was kind of a cool idea. It's like sharing what was going on with, you know, your friends and your family. And so now with today's technology, we can do that like right now. Like I can put this clip together and you can all see it tomorrow, and eventually we can even get to where, you know, it's live. Like right now I'm doing this and you guys would be watching me. And so as I was doing those tapes, putting them all together, I'm like, God, you know, one day I should just start a YouTube channel, because I don't know how many of you like remember, like back in school, that used to be one of the things we would do, is you'd have to get, and for class, you'd have to keep a journal. Like you had to keep, you know, what you would do each day. You'd write it down, you know, not really like a diary, but I remember, I think it was, I don't know what grade I was in, elementary school anyway, but we kept a journal of like what we did, you know. And so there's that idea in my head, like, oh, keeping a journal of what's going on with, you know, once I started doing this firewood thing, it'd be kind of cool to keep a, you know, record of what was happening, and then also share that with friends and family, and, you know, whoever wanted to tune in and watch it, which would be all of you guys. So that is pretty much why I started my YouTube channel. And I've been like, I know Larry Cluck, I asked you like where you were at over in Minnesota, and I actually used to live up in Champlain Park. I used to live in Plymouth. I lived in Ridgedale and Otsego and Rogers and Gemma's barking, and St. Cloud. So I think I went for 1 year, I went through a stretch of, for 10 years, I lived in a different place every year. So I lived in 10 different places over the course of 10 years. It was kind of crazy. But so I have a lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of, you know, people I know all over. So that's another reason why, you know, it's like if you see an old friend all of a sudden one day and they're like, hey, what have you been up to? Now I can just say, hey, go check out my YouTube channel and you'll see all kinds of stuff I've been up to. So that's pretty much it. And now, like I said, it's just kind of, you know, it's taken off. It's going really great. I'm super stoked about the way things have been, the response, just bringing people together, you know, in a community to discuss something as simple as firewood. Like, it's just, to me, it's like crazy. And, you know, like I said, I mean, one thing with the firewood, when I started selling firewood, like I knew I wasn't going to compete with a lot of the guys around here doing big operations. And so another thing with the YouTube channel was just to get out there, like that idea of, hey, if you wanted to do something, you don't need to have a huge operation. And if, you know, if you want to just start small and sell a little firewood on the side, you know, out by your driveway, hey, go ahead and do it, because it can be done. I mean, yes, it's a lot of work, and, you know, that's another reason why, just to show what was all going into, you know, making firewood and having a small firewood business. I mean, as you guys can see, day to day, like there's different things happening every day, you know, and it's always kind of something different, but yet it all kind of relates to the same thing. So, you know, there's always those people that were like, oh, well, you're going to make firewood videos, you're going to go out and cut down a tree, chop it up, and you're done. That's it. But, like I said, it's every day there's something else going on. And so that's pretty much it, you know. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. It's, you know, it does take up a little bit of time to do it, you know, the way that I want to do it. But eventually, maybe that will all start, you know, paying off. We'll see. Which reminds me, the milestone that we had of 250 subscribers a few weeks back, we're going to be doing that t-shirt giveaway coming up this next Friday. So in less than a week. So there's less than a week to go. So if you haven't watched that video, I will put the link up here. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Leave a comment of when you see the Back 40 Firewood t-shirt. But it's the orange one that Mrs. Back 40 is wearing. So when you see that, leave a timestamp comment, or just leave a comment that you watched the video. That's really all that matters. Oh, and because things are going kind of crazy, maybe I'll do something crazy. So like by next Friday, if we are at 500 subscribers, I will double your chances of winning that t-shirt, and I will give away 2. So share this with your friends and family and all your social media outlets. I think we only need like 90 some more. 90 subscribers in 6 days. Can it be done? Oh, I think it can be done. And that's the cool thing, is that we can all celebrate this together. If we get there, it's not just, you know, a milestone for me, it's a milestone for you as well. Like, you could help do it. So we'll see what happens. But that won't be, if we do reach 500 and I give away 2 t-shirts, that's not going to be the 500 giveaway. So there'll be something coming for that as well. All right, let's do a few more shout outs. Here is a shout out that I wanted to give to Greg Popple, and I believe it was, there was one more guy. Let me just get to it here. Greg Popple and Eric Kennemer. You two guys are some crazy guys. You're watching these videos out in your tree stand. They've left comments about how they were out in their tree stand deer hunting, watching the videos. So thumbs up for that. That is great. I read that and I was like, holy crap. I mean, well, first of all, my tree stand, I don't think I'd have service. But yeah, you guys were out in your tree stands watching my YouTube channel. So I appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Here's your shout out for doing that. Let's see, what else? Who else is in here? Big D fan. Here's your shout out. I noticed I think you just subscribed last week and you've been leaving some comments, so appreciate that. Glad you're here in the Back 40 community with the Back 40 Wood Hounds. Oh yeah. Rob Farrell, of course, over there in Ireland. How are you doing? Woods Tree Farm. Glad you're on the channel here. Appreciate your comments. If you haven't checked them out, I think they are in Ohio, and they have a Christmas tree farm. So they are probably going to be getting pretty busy coming up here pretty soon. So thanks again, Woods Tree Farm. Shout out to you. David Malloy, I might not get that last name right. Seeing you in the comments. I know you were wondering, I think, about that shoveling ashes out of the wood boiler, and I left you a comment on that, so I hope you read that. Jim Richards, of course, glad to hear you survived Bike Week down there in Daytona. I actually was down in Daytona way back in 93 or 94 for spring break. And we had just gotten down there. We had arrived for spring break on the last weekend of Bike Week. So yeah, it was pretty wild. all these bikers in town. They're like, what are you young little college punks doing here? Fern Hill Farm. I've seen you in the comments quite a bit, so here's your shout out. And you said something today about the the grab and go firewood is the best kind, and that is true. It is. It is good to grab it and go. Get home, get on with your day. Oh yeah, and so a bunch of you were, after I showed that leaf of that tree that was up there, you did confirm that yes, that was a an elm leaf. So thanks for that feedback. Who else was all in these comments? Like I said, it's getting hard to keep up with all of them. Oh, from my last time I answered comments, I had talked about my logo, and the comment was from Noi Bray 13, and I hadn't been able to find that. So Noi Bray 13. Here is your shout out that I owed you last week. So there it is. Oh, who else is all in here? Captain Cully. Captain, how are you doing? I do have a little Captain right here in this nice little thermal mug. The good thing about fall and having fires outside is, like, if you have a beverage, you don't have to worry about it getting warm because it stays nice and cool in these lower temperatures in the evening. Let's see. Travis Nichols. Hey Travis, how you doing? Hope everything's going well. Hope you're having a good weekend. North Fork Hollow. Hope you're having a good weekend out there in Pennsylvania. Let's see. I think that will. Kevin Mason. Kevin Mason, have you figured out how to change your little profile icon? I know you were saying I think there's 2 Kevin Masons in the community, so hopefully you get that all taken care of. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Just wanted to get on here, give a little backstory on why I started this YouTube channel, and now that things are going great, who knows where it's gonna go? But as I always say, I greatly appreciate everybody jumping in the comments, the views, the subscribers, all the new subscribers. Thanks again for finding the channel and subscribing. And like I said, if you know someone who might like this, get them hooked up. So next Friday night, we can maybe be giving away 2 t-shirts. All right, so that's gonna do it. I'm gonna get back to enjoying this fire. Looks like it's burning down. Whoa, what happened there? I did make a little video tonight on burning the different types of firewood. So I like took a couple different pieces of like cherry and pine and oak and basswood and cottonwood, and I lined them up in the fire, and I did a little time lapse to watch them burn down. So watch for that video coming up next week. It's kind of cool how it turned out. So all right, thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe, have fun, and be cool. Over and out.